Welcome everyone. Let us talk about the new features that we got in Revit 2027. Now we can find the first feature within our welcome page, guys. Here we have this new sample file called the sample residential. When we enter it, we would immediately realize that for this project, for this sample project, we have access to several design options. Now, before moving on, guys, remember, if you are not familiar with this concept, I'm talking about design option, you can check our Revit coordination course. Although I'm actually going to talk about it here as well, guys, just a little bit. I'm going to enter the 3D view, and let's see what I meant when I said we have design options here. In general, the concept of design options means having alternatives, I'm talking about designing alternatives for modeling process. Take a look at this. Here I have a list of options. This will be the first one, which would be the main one, by the way. Then here's the second alternative, and then the third option. Now, the thing is, having such alternatives, or basically design options, is a very common thing these days, especially for within some countries such as US or Canada or Australia. Like, for example, in some projects, when dealing with single family houses, they might prepare like tens of different alternatives or design options within a single file. Now, they have to do this due to some small yet required changes. Like, for example, within one type, a wall might be removed, or for example, in another, a window might be relocated. Now, in such cases, instead of creating a completely new file, they would keep the main structure. I'm talking about, for example, the site, the main structure, the fixed up surrounding areas, and then the changes would be presented as design options. Now, by the way, guys, this wasn't really related to the new features in Revit 2027. I just wanted you to become a bit more familiar with the concept of design options. That's it. However, regarding the new features in Revit 27, guys, we can talk about option bars. Guys, if you recall, back in our previous courses, I'm talking about Revit 2024, 5, and 6. I actually said that the items and options that we got within our option bars in Revit are being relocated, gradually relocated. You know what? Why just talk about it? Let me just show you. I'm entering Revit 26, and I'm actually putting this text here as well, indicating this fact. Okay, now I'm going to select one of the items here, like for example, walls. And as I'm sure you already know, guys, here we have the option bar containing some options and items, okay? Items and options such as radius, chain, location line, offset, and so on. Now, the thing is, we have no such thing in Revit 2027, guys. All of these options and items are relocated or moved to ribbon. Now, honestly, this is a very good thing, guys. Why? Because we simply don't have to look for the items that we need in different or multiple places and locations. We can easily just find everything that we need within our ribbon. If you recall, back in older versions of Revit, like for example 2020 or 2021, all the options and items were in the option bar, and we had nothing in ribbon. However, version by version, all the items were moved. Well, now the option bar is simply no more, guys. So do not get confused then, guys. Whenever you needed an item or option that you used to find within the option bar, remember, you can find it now within the ribbon. Oh, and better yet, now they also have icons to them. All right, let me try working on an example now. I'm going to try loading a column here. Now, to put it simply, as you can see, we have no such thing called the option bar anymore. All the items and options are up here now. You know what? Let me show you the difference in Revit 26. As you can see, we got the option bar. But when we check the new version, Revit 27, as you can see, we have no option bars here, guys. Okay? Next up, we can talk about, I guess it's better to say an enhancement, actually. The palettes and tabs are more enhanced. They are more modernized in this version, it's better to say. As an example, I'm going to open up the drafting view palette. As you can see, this is more modern, and it's actually more consistent with the dark mode or dark theme. You know what? Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go with a dark mode or dark background here to show you this palette then. See, the palette is also dark, guys. However, if we go back to Revit 26 again and apply the same background, dark or dark theme, give me drafting view again. As you can see, not only the palette is white, but also it's not that good looking, honestly. Now, the most affected item by this whole new change or enhancement might be the area plans. Now, if you don't know what they are or you're not familiar with them simply, do not worry, guys. I mean, later on, or basically just somewhere along the way, you eventually get it. Don't worry. Just know that they are affected. They have changed. I mean, this is the point that I'm trying to prove here. We're not really going to focus on what the what an area plan is. So I'm going to open up its palette here. This is what we have in Revit 27. Now let's check it out in Revit 26 as well. See? Huge difference. Yeah, so overall we got such graphical changes, or again, it's better to say such graphical enhancements in Revit 2027. Moving on with our discussion regarding the changes applied in Revit 27, guys, we can mention the tabs. The tabs are also different, especially the concrete tab, guys. Well, actually, we didn't have such a thing in the 26th version. So no such thing here. However, we got this tab in the new version. Now, regarding its items and sub-items, first off, rebars are transferred here from the structural tab. And see here we got reinforcements. And then also we got precasts. So then to put it simply, guys, in the new version of Revit, both the reinforcement panel and the precast panel are transferred from the structure tab into concrete tab. To put it in another way, they kind of gathered together to create this tab. Alright then, guys, I guess that would be all regarding the new changes that we can see, and by that I mean the visual changes in Revit 27. Today, we're going to talk about walls. Now, to put it simply, we're going to talk about some new features as well as some changed ones. Now, as for our first point, guys, in Revit 27, before we begin setting the walls, we would be able to control the room bounding option. If you recall, this wasn't really possible back in prior versions. I mean, like in Revit 26, we had to set the walls, then control this option. Alright, now we can talk about an item or feature that has been added to Revit in Revit 26 actually, but it has gotten quite enhanced in the new version. I'm talking about place by segment. Two items were added to Revit for working on walls in Revit 26, place by room and place by segment. Now, place by room is pretty much the same, there's nothing new about it. However, place by segment is a bit different. More precisely, there are in fact some changes regarding this item, and they are quite interesting. First and foremost, in Revit 27, these two mentioned items, place by room and place by segment, are relocated. Now we can find them right here. Let me go back to Revit 27, guys. See, we got them here now. As for the next change, guys, when using place by segment, now we would be able to choose whether we want to set the wall using this item based on either the interior location line or the exterior one. Again, this was not possible back in Revit 26. So, we had to set the wall first, and then for controlling the course, we had to flip it using space. You know what, let me give you a better example. I'm gonna use a wall with layers. Take a look at this, guys. I'm gonna set this wall here. Now let's say I, for example, wanted to set this layer on this side. For doing so, I had to use space to flip the layer. In Revit 27, though, we don't really have to do this. We can control the course that we want to set the wall in before setting the walls. Let me show you an example in Revit 27 as well. I'm setting this wall here based on the exterior location line. Give me some colors, actually. Yeah, way better. Anyway, as you can see, this 5cm layer is set on this side. I'm going to remove it. Let's try this one more time, this time based on the interior location line. And here we go. So to put it simply then, guys, we got a better control now. Alright, as a very interesting item added to Revit in the new version, guys, we can mention hosted walls. For further elaboration, guys, when we are working with walls, and to be more precise even, when dealing with place-based segment, we would be able to activate this item. Let me demonstrate, guys. I'm going to click on this wall, and you might say, alright, then nothing happened, right? Well, wrong. That's not true. What has happened is that this second wall here is now hosted on the first one. So then if we go ahead and try moving the first or the main wall, the second wall would move with it. Now question, guys, isn't this a bit familiar though? Well, you might think that this is quite like joining them, right? You are not wrong, but there's a difference. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So then back to Revit 26, place-based segment and auto join. Set this here, and then try moving the main or the host wall. So you can see they are not moving together. Why? Because they need to be locked also. So we need to be using auto join and lock then. After doing this, now the walls are moving together. Now to this point, everything is quite the same. However, as I said, there's a difference. Let's talk about that now. When using auto join and lock, guys, if we try moving the hosted wall, the main wall would also be moved. However, this is not happening in Revit 27 when using hosted walls. Let me show you guys. Here, if we try moving the main wall, the secondary wall would be moved, but we can't move the secondary wall and hope to move the main wall as well. So it's not moving. Oh, and by the way, in properties, we have an item or option called offset from host, which indicates the exact distance in between the walls. So then, to put it simply, guys, when using auto join and lock, both walls, both types of walls, I'm talking about both the host and the hosted, could affect each other. More precisely, I mean, by moving one, the other one would act accordingly. But when using hosted walls, only the host wall could affect this hosted. Now, as another question, can we control this offset, guys? I mean, manually? Well, yes, we can. So basically, there are two ways for controlling the distance in between these two walls. One would be manually from the viewport, directly from the viewport, or we can just use this offset option or item in the properties. Now let's say we want to specify the exact distance or the offset in between the walls before we begin setting them. Well, that's easy as well. After clicking on wall, then place by segment, we need to select hosted walls. Then we should set the wall first, and then after setting it, we would be able to specify the offset however we like. So I kind of mislead you guys. First we need to set the wall, then specify the distance in between them. Now let's talk about a point, guys. As you know, when setting the finishing layers or finishing walls basically separately, the next step would be joining them, right? I mean, we need to do this because we need to set or create the openings in the walls as well. Now, question is, when using place-based segment and hosted walls, are the walls joined up or not? Well, no, guys. So then, what we get out of this whole thing is the fact that when using place-based segment and hosted walls, we also need to be activating the auto join option. This way, we can make sure that the required openings for doors and windows, for example, within the walls would correctly be created. Now, another question. What do you think will happen if we specify an offset for the finishings? To be more exact, what's going to happen to the opening? Well, let's find out. As an example, give me 10 cm of offset. As you can see, nothing bad happens to the opening, guys. The opening actually works or would act accordingly. This is a very useful technique when dealing with two-layered walls, guys. We would be able to set the secondary wall or layer as a hosted wall with auto join activated. And then this way, we would make sure that not only we can make sure that the openings would be added to the whole thing correctly later on, but also we won't be facing any difficulties or problems in case we needed to apply further modifications on the walls. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you have realized this or not, Revit is still supporting the whole technique for setting the finishing layer separately. I mean, as you can see, version by version, it adds or provides us with more and more options and items regarding the matter. However, guys, there's actually a downside to this. When setting the layers separately, it doesn't really matter which technique we're using, like hosted walls, auto join, or any other thing. The downside is that when placing the doors, guys, the door frame won't be extended according to what we have in the layers. Let me give you an example on this, guys. If I try placing this door here, as you can see, the door frame recognizes the main wall, but not this gap and also the finishing layer beneath it. Can we do something about this, though? Oh, yes, we can. Later on in our future sessions, we'll be discussing this in more detail, but let me just give you a bit of pointers. You need to convert this door into a parametric family, basically. If you're not getting this, guys, do not worry. As I said, later on in our future sessions, we'll be covering this entire concept in more detail, and some might even say completely. So then, guys, up to this point, we talked about the concept of place-based segment for walls in Revit 2027. We saw that we're able to control the location line. I'm talking about the couple of options, interior and exterior options. Then we saw that we're able to work with this new item, hosted walls, using which the hosted wall would be acting based on or according to the host wall. And then also for adding the openings later on, we said that except for hosted wall, we also need to be using auto join as well. Alright, now let's just cover a couple of complementary points and finish the session. When selecting the secondary or the hosted wall, up here we'll get this item called Select Main Host. This item basically informs us regarding the main host of the selected wall, guys. Obviously, this wasn't really complicated. Next up, we have Pick New Host as well, guys, using which we would basically be able to change our main host. Let me see, can I select this as the new host? I don't think so, so let me change my type for a second. Again, this is not a complicated concept, guys. I mean, basically, if we go with this select main host item, we'll be getting the main host, and then if we go with pick new host, we would be able to, for example, select this one as the host. Alright, it didn't work. Why do you think it didn't work though, guys? Well, the warning says we are not dealing with completely parallel walls. So let me try applying some modifications to this whole thing. So that we got another wall down here, like this. Now, I would be able to use pick new host and select this new wall as the main host. See? Very simple. You can specify an offset again. Well, if I'm being 100% honest, guys, these two items aren't really that useful. Now, let's say during the work, guys, we suddenly realized that we don't really need the hosted walls, or the host basically. And for getting rid of the whole thing, up here we have this item called Remove Hosted Relationship. So if I click here, the walls would basically be converted into separate walls. And they were joined up, so we can unjoin them here as well. Alright then, guys, that would be all. Yeah, I guess we're done discussing all the new features, items, points, and techniques that we have regarding walls in Revit 2027. And remember, this hosted walls is an extremely important concept, and you would truly understand this when you started your own work on finishing layers. Alright everyone, let's talk about tags in Revit 2027. Before that though, remember, when there's an upgrade regarding any software basically, the features could be both important and non-important ones. And Revit is not an exception. For example, the features that we have regarding palettes aren't really that important, but when it comes to tags, well, they are awesome. To put it simply, guys, using the new features that we have regarding tags, we would be able to work faster, easier, and a lot more precisely. Now, as for our first point, we can mention the fact that in Revit 2027, we would be able to, well, let me put it in this way, from tag all, we would be able to use or add multi-category tags. You might not even realize this, but this is huge. This is extremely important. Let me tell you why, or actually, better yet, let me show you. Take a look at what we have in Revit 26, guys. In tag all, there's no such thing called multi-category tag. Now, this is not the case in Revit 27, though. See, for any category, walls, windows, doors, ramps, anything basically, we would be able to use multi-category tags. Now, as I'm sure you already know, guys, from multi-category tags, we would be able to create specific tags, like, for example, type marks, type, comments, anything that we have in mind. To be more exact, guys, we can, or it's better to say we should be doing this to avoid creating or adding tags for all the categories that we have here separately and one by one. I mean, we shouldn't do this, like creating a window tag separately and then, for example, let's say show me the type mark. Instead of that, we should just create a multi-category tag because it supports all the items and categories. So then, from tag all, I can go ahead and select multi-category tag for all the items that I want, basically, or categories. Well, this would help us plenty during our work. Now, although this is a very good and interesting feature that we got, guys, compared to other features that we're about to discuss, it's nothing. Oh, and by the way, guys, while we're at it, we would also be able to use this or select this option. I'm talking about multi-category tags when we're dealing or when we are working within this tab, within the loaded tags and symbols tab. Again, this was not really possible back in prior versions, guys. Alright everyone, let me just put it simply then. You should select multi-category tags as the default option for both tag all and tag by category. Alright everyone, about the next feature, actually let me tell you this first. It's a very good item. However, we shouldn't really be happy about this. I mean, we shouldn't really be happy that it has been added to Revit. Instead, I was kind of mad that we didn't have it before, so I guess it's better to say we should be relieved somehow. Instead we should be asking this question: where was it all this time? Alright, that's enough. Let's go back to Revit 26 for a second and set up this tag here. Now, question is, how much we can exactly control this tag? Well, let me just put it simply. We can use these items to control this tag. That's it. Yeah, like for example, we can remove the leader, or we can set up the tag vertically. And then this item is actually good for leader type. Instead of attach end, we can go with free end, and then we would be able to freely move the leader's endpoint and set it wherever we want. However, what if I wanted to move the leader's starting point as well? Yeah, like, for example, what if I wanted to set it at the corner or up here even? Yeah, so basically the point that I'm trying to prove here is that in Revit 26, we have nothing, no item, helping us control the leader starting point. We can even break up the leader like this, but still we can't control the leader starting point, guys. So now, let us go back to Revit 27 and see how this whole thing actually differs. I'm going to set up this tag here. First off, we have a couple of grips that we would be able to use. And then in the properties, we have both leader start and leader end. Now, through leader start, we would be able to move the leader's starting point however we like.
Now, the leader endpoint is still attached, guys. So then if I go with free end for leader end as well, as you can see, we would basically be able to move the leader however we like. As an example, I'm going to set up my leader like this. This is something that was not possible at all back in prior versions. This is an extremely important and useful feature or ability that we got, guys, especially when it comes to working on a phase 2 project and plans where we have to deal with a lot of tags. Okay, now let's talk about the main purpose of this entire session. Using the next feature, we would be able to specify the direction within the staircases and also the tread numbers as tags automatically. Let me tell you this, guys. If you are a professional Revit user, you know what I'm saying. I mean, you must be excited about this whole new feature that we got in Revit 27. Well, I mean, you must have experienced some problems and difficulties regarding this matter. Like, for example, after printing your files and plans, some of the staircases directions aren't really there, or some of the tread numbers or step numbers are nowhere to be found. And in such cases, we kind of have to do the whole thing all over again. I'm talking about creating the PDF again. And it would have taken a long time, especially in large projects.
So then to sum up, guys, this is going to be a golden point, a golden feature that we will be able to use within our works without any difficulties. Take a look at this. Entering the Tag All tab, here we can find both stairs and then also stair path. Okay? Now here for stair path, for example, guys, you would be able to select or specify a type. And of course, I'm talking about the type of tags, guys. I mean, we have two types, basically, automatic and fixed step. For example, I'm going with a fixed step here. All right? Fixed step. And we can do the same for the tread numbers or stairs here, guys. Now, do tread numbers or stairs even have types to them? Well, yes, they do. Now, this is going to be another thing, another concept that we will be discussing within our future session. So, yeah, let's just move past it for now. Alright then, so up to this point, what we did was specifying a type of tag for both stair numbers and stair path, alright? Now, the only thing that I need to do would be selecting the items and then hit OK. Here we go. We're basically done here, but we still need some further modifications. For example, we need to relocate the stair numbers. I mean, it is better to do that. I'm going to select them using filters, and then we can easily move them around. See? Very simple and convenient, guys. Now, entering the visibility and graphics from annotations, I'm going to select this. And all done. Awesome. So then, guys, this would basically be how to set both the stair paths and stair numbers using Tag All as rapidly as possible. Now, question, guys, do we also have this ability within Tag by categories or not? Well, no, we don't. And honestly, we don't really have to. I mean, we don't need them. You know, we shouldn't even think about this, guys. I mean, we basically have Tag All because we want to work as fast as possible. I mean, we want to set the required tags on the items as fast as possible. We shouldn't really think about using Tag by category for when we're dealing with such items, because it'll take a long time for the process to be done. Well, I mean, the process of using items such as stair path or even tread numbers, but now we can just easily use a Tag All, and it is very simple to work with. So then one more time, guys, this would be an extremely important and useful item that we got, and as I called it, actually, we can call this a golden feature, and we can use it especially when it comes to working on a large project. As for another point regarding stairs in Revit 2027, guys, we can mention the fact that the Edit Type tab is available for stair numbers now. We didn't have such a thing in prior versions, guys. Let me show you. For example, say we're setting this staircase in Revit 26 and After specifying or setting the stair numbers, we got no such thing called edit type for them. Now, the thing is, guys, you might be saying, alright then, so we didn't have it. What about it? Do we even need it? Well, let us answer this question then. I'm going to elaborate. And by the way, guys, once again, this would be another thing, another point, if you will, that professional Revit users truly understand the most. Alright, take a look at this current example, guys. Let's say, for example, the number size is not a good one here. Let's change it to 2, for example. Now let's try setting the tread numbers for the next staircase. And once again, the number size is not a good one. Now, one technique that we can use, guys, would be specifying a default number size before setting the tread numbers, like this. But the problem that we got with this, guys, is that in case we needed further editing, we have to apply the required modifications from the Properties tab one by one. You know what? I guess it's actually better to say this would be only one of the problems that we have here, because there are more, actually. Like, we can't really control the color, or we can't really control the font size, and basically there are multiple difficulties that we're facing. Now, having said all of this, back to Revit 27, as I said, we got edit type now. First off, we got number size within edit type, and if I control this, the entire thing, I mean, it affects everything, basically, see? Now, to truly understand the importance here, guys, let me paint you this picture. Assume that you're working on a very large-scale project where you got like tens of staircases. Before this item, you had to go ahead and control or specify the tread numbers one by one. And not only this, within all the plans. Just think about it for a second, guys. So you're working on a 30-story building, and then this means that you have like 30 plans, and each plan has 4 categories. And this means that you need to cover up to 120 different sheets. Honestly, guys, you don't really even have to experience such a thing to understand it. Just imagine it. Again, regarding the 30-story building, you have like 30 dimensional plans, 30 furniture plans, floor plans, and so on. Now, once again, before this item, you had to go ahead and work on each sheet, work on each plan one by one and separately. Now, though, we got this tab, we got the Edit Type tab, and as I'm sure you already know, guys, when applying a modification from the Edit Type tab, it would be applied on the entire type, meaning on the entire project, if you will. You know, to put it simply, guys, this means more preciseness, more speed, less cost, and even less, you can say, less effort. So then what I'm trying to say here is that you shouldn't just look at this as how should I put this, as a simple or insignificant change. This is huge. And once again, guys, if you are an experienced or a professional Revit user, you truly understand the significance and importance. Alright then, guys, so let's see what other features we got here regarding the stairs in Revit 27. We talked about edit type. These items and options that we got in properties are the same as before. Let me show you this, though. Back to Revit 26, if I open up Justify, we got 3 options. But in Revit 27, guys, Justify provides us with more options. Like, we got quarter, for example, as one of the options here. And honestly, guys, this is the correct option. I mean, previously we had to go with either left or right and then specify an offset. And well, finally Autodesk realized this. I mean, just think about this for a second, guys. It didn't even make sense. Let me show you who in the right mind would put the tread numbers up here. By the way, guys, can you feel the anger within my voice? You know, I'm not really happy about these changes. I'm just annoyed. I'm angry that we didn't have them sooner. Anyway, as for another feature that we have, we would be able to control the colors from the Edit Type tab. Again, another thing that was not possible back in prior versions. Alright, so far so good. Now, as for, last but not least, guys, as for our maybe the most interesting or the most important point, we would be able to graphically control the tread numbers on both sides of our cut lines. Like, as an example, these are the tread numbers above the cut mark or the cut line, and we can control their colors, like, for example, an orange color, or we can apply a transparency to them. And also, guys, apart from graphics, we would be able to control the text as well. Now, when I say text, guys, I'm talking about modifications on the font, like the font size, or like, for example, going with a bold text. For example, if I reduce the size here, guys, somehow the cut mark would be more distinguished here. So then, yeah, we can control the color, we can control the transparency, we can control the font size, and basically general modifications such as these. And again, guys, remember, the most important point about this whole thing is the fact that when we apply a modification using edit type, it would be applied on the entire project. Or, all the plans, you can say. Okay? Guys, we also have a point to discuss regarding the VG, or the Visibility and Graphics tab. In Revit 27, we can open up the VG tab. Then, from the Annotation tab, we would be able to find Stair Tread Rise and Numbers. Now, here we can also control the numbers on both sides of the cut mark, guys. We can, for example, enable or disable them. For example, I'm going to turn off the numbers above the cut mark. But again, guys, remember, this wasn't a thing in prior versions of Revit. Take a look at this in Revit 26. Stair Tread Rise and Number basically does not have any subcategories. Alright, guys, that would basically be all regarding the new features and points that we have for stairs in Revit 2027. As for another feature in Revit, actually a completely new feature in Revit, we can mention the numbering item. If you recall, back in prior versions, for specifying the numbers and even names for elements based on other items, like, for example, changing the name or even the type mark within doors based on the rooms, we had to use Dynamo. However, now we got this new item, or actually this built-in item, that we would be able to use for changing the name and numbers based on within elements based on other objects and items. Now, first, let's talk about this item a bit more, like, let's see what exactly it does, and then we're going to go through an example regarding it as well. So first off, this will be its tab or its palette. Let me remove these. Work on the whole thing from the scratch. First, let's talk about the items that we got here. First item is add, using which we can create or add new templates, basically. For example, let's say I want to create a template for changing the name within the door tags. So I'm going to call this door tag then. After creating the template, we're going to get some more items on this side. Let's see what they are first, and then we're going to go through an example to understand them completely. First item here is filters. Basically, through using filters, we would be able to specify what kind of items or objects we want this template to affect. They might be saying, alright, so the template itself is called the door tag, so it's going to affect all the doors. Well, yeah, that's true, but what if we didn't want that? What if we wanted just some specific types of doors to be affected, not all of them? I mean, like, let's say we want only these doors here to be included within the template, that's it. So then in such cases, we need to use filters. We already have a list of filters, predefined filters that we can go with, or we can just create the ones that we have in mind. Now, as an example, let's say I only want to work on these doors. What's the name? Single vision. Alright then. How about these ones? Here we got single flush. Okay. So as I said, we need to define a filter. We need to create a filter. And we actually have two options for that. We can create the filter first and then enter the numbering template or tab. Or we can open up the numbering palette and then access the filters tab from here, as you can see. About creating the filters is very simple. Just click on new and create the filter. That's it. Now, as for the name, I'm going with the name of the door that we just saw, the type, actually. You can go with any other name that you have in mind. Right, anyway, after that, here we have a list of categories from which we can select the category that we have in mind. I'm going to look and select the doors. Then, based on, let's say, type. Let me find type. Oh, type name, actually. Equal with Alright, what's happening here? Alright, you know what? Let me check the door type. Yeah, let's check the door type one more time. Who is the type again? M door passage single vision. I mean, this is a name actually. The type is 900 by 2100. Anyway, now we can create the filter, and as I said, we have two ways for that. We can either create the filter and then enter the numbering template, or we can enter the numbering palette and then create the filter. So then let's create the filter here, guys. New, and what was the name? 900 by 2100 single vision. Is it correct though? Single vision doors. Okay. Now, as I said, we need to select the doors as the category. But I mean, you need to select it if it wasn't selected already. And again, only doors, guys, nothing else, no other category. Alright, anyway, now, as for the first filter, I'm actually going to go with families. I mean, first families, then type. So, family equal to, which one was it? Equal to this one, okay? Then, add again. Type name equal to 900 by 2100. Where is it? Let me see. 900 by 2100. Okay, then. After creating the filters, we can go ahead and select that from this list, guys. Did I go with the right type, though? Let me check this again. 921. Okay. I think I went with the wrong name, though. Let me go back. Yeah. I need to rename this to 2100 instead of 1200. Alright then, so that will be all regarding the filters and numbering palette, guys. Okay? Oh, and by the way, guys, if you wanted this filter to affect all the doors, you simply didn't have to, specify any rules. You know what, let's actually go through an example regarding this matter as well. For the name, I'm just going to go with doors and, as I said, no rules. Now I can select this new filter from the list. You know, some sort of a general kind of filter. And also, guys, right below the filter, we have a filter category, which somehow indicates the category that is going to be affected by the created filter. That's it. Alright, then moving on to the next item, numbering parameter. The parameter that we want to work with, like for example, which parameter we want to change exactly, like the mark, the comment, type name, whatever. Now, currently, we're dealing with doors, so in this current example, numbering parameter would be that parameter that we want to be changed based on the rooms, as I said. The next item would be partitioning. Using this item, guys, we would somehow be able to categorize the numbering. For example, let's say we have 3 doors, and in that case, we'll be getting like extensions, 1, 2, 3. For example, we're dealing with doors from an electric room, let's say. In that case, we'll be having like electrical 1, electrical 2, and so on. So there's some sort of a categorizing process, but the question is, what exactly you want this categorizing process to be based on? Could be based on the room's name, or the door's width, or even the door's height. Well, such categorizing or sorting process basically means partitioning. You know what, let's go through an example. All right, give me a parameter to open up this list. Mark. Now, if I go with, for example, the room names as for the partitioning, guys, the doors within a specific room would be numbered or named starting from either number 1 or even A alphabetically. For example, 1, 2, 3, as I said. Now, let's change this though. I mean, instead of room names, let's go with like the height. And this way, the doors would be sorted out based on, starting from the smallest one all the way to the tallest. So then the smallest door would be number 1, and then it goes all the way up from that point. As this is a numbering process, so we simply should have a starting point and an end point. Like, say we got like 30 doors, we should start from number 1 and going all the way to number 30 without any specific categories. Well, I mean, either this or we can actually specify a particular category, like for example, based on the room names, as we talked about earlier. And well, as we discussed earlier, this process is called partitioning. Now, if we were to go with another aspect for the whole partitioning process, like say width of the doors, we will have something similar to what we had in heights. Like for example, the smallest width would be number 1, and then the largest one would be like 30. So then one more time, guys, partitioning basically means categorizing or sorting the whole numbering process. And well, maybe the most popular option for the partitioning process is based on the room names. And by the way, guys, as I said, if we just turn this off, it means that we have no specific categories for the numbering process. We'll have like the starting number and then the end number. All right, next item, element matching. Through this item, we would be able to specify the same number or code, if you will, for the elements with the same parameter. Let me break this down for you a bit, guys. Let's say, for example, we got 2 doors within this room, and we're doing the whole partitioning process based on the room name again. So, for example, this will be number 1, and then this will be door number 2. Having said this, as I said, element matching says that if the doors or the elements basically have the same parameters, you can go with a single number for them. For example, I'm going to open up element matching and then select type. Now, if these 2 doors were from the same type, their number or their code would also be the same. Or, for example, this time, instead of type, let's go with width. And now this way, it doesn't really matter whether the doors are from the same type or not. The only important thing is the fact that they have the same width. And in that case, as I said, again, we'll be having the same number for them. So then this is basically what you can do using element matching, guys. And then at the end, we have number formatting, guys. I guess it is quite obvious, guys. You would be able to specify a format for your numbering process or even naming. Let's take a look at the default format, guys. We basically have 2 options for this. By default, it could be either numbers or alphabets. I mean, we can go with number here, and we'll be getting like 1, 2, 3, and so on. And we can go with letters, and we'll be getting like A, B, C, D, and well, the rest, basically. Do we have any other options, though? Well, let's say, for example, for doors, I want to have both the letters and, for example, the room names. See, so we're going to have like A and then the room's name. And we can always change the order, guys. We can move this up. Now we will have the room name first and then the letter. And you can even check this through the sample up here. Also, you would be able to add prefixes and suffixes to this whole thing. As an example, let's throw in a suffix like an underline, an extension, if you will. Now again, we can change the order here. You see the sample, guys? See what's happening? Okay, can we add more? Yes, we can. For example, let's say we also want to have the family. Yeah. Now let's throw in another underline. So then overall, guys, what's going on here is that we'll be having the room name first. And then after that, the number 1, 2, 3, and so on, basically. Well, as we discussed, guys, these numbers could be affected by the partitioning, by the whole partitioning process. And then after specifying or indicating the number, at the end, we'll be having the family. So then, as you can see, we'd be able to specify the exact format or the structure for your numbering process as well. Now, let me ask you this, guys. What kind of parameter do you think is going to be affected by this whole thing, by this whole format? Well, if you recall, a few minutes ago, I selected a parameter mark. So then this whole format, this whole code that we just created somehow would be specified or would be displayed through the mark, guys. Or it could be comments. And yeah, that would basically be all. We talked about the numbering item. Now let's work on some examples. First, let us set up some tags. Well, we can actually skip this. I mean, in that case, we would get the codes within mark, but I guess it's better to set up some tags first. So I'm going to use tag alt and set up these tags for doors. Now let's see what is the parameter that is being used for this tag. So then let's enter the edit family, mark. We can always change this, like give me type mark instead. Now load this back in. Now just as a reminder, guys, when selecting this door, some of its parameters would be set within the properties tab and some others would be set within type properties or edit type, if you will. And for the numbering process, basically, the required parameter won't be set within the type properties or edit type. Why? Well, because obviously, when we, as you know, applying a modification within the type properties tab would affect the entire type within the entire project. So that is not really logical when you think about it. So what we can get from this is that numbering would only work with the parameters that we would get within the properties tab. Well, type mark is not one of them. You know what, guys? Let me put it in this way. Let's say we want to do the numbering based on the room name. Although we have different rooms, the door types are the same. What's the name of this room? Electrical. Now, if we use electrical as the value for type mark, guys, this would be applied on all the doors. And in that case, what's the point of doing the whole numbering, guys? So then, guys, if I'm to explain this in another way, the parameter that we would specify for the tag here should not be a type parameter. Instead, it should definitely be an instance one. Well, I mean, unless you don't really want to do the whole numbering process. In that case, you can use the type parameters as well. But if you want to do the numbering process, you need to use instance or unique parameters. Okay, anyway, guys, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is some sort of a format or structure for the numbering for the code or the number that we need. Like for example, we want the width of the door, and also some sort of a letter maybe. Like for example, the width -A, and the most common format though includes, for example, the mark being specified based on the room name plus some sort of a letter or even a number. Now, shall we try this? Let's say we only want to number these doors, guys. So from manage, I'm going to try entering the numbering tab. Okay, the door tag. We already got the filter. I'm going to set this on mark. And as for the partitioning, guys, as I said, we are going to go with a room name. Oh, by the way, guys, make sure to enable this option up here, otherwise the partitioning won't happen. I mean, the room name won't be a factor. And the numbers would be set or would be specified starting from 1 and, well, counting. You know what, why just talk about this? Let's actually see how this whole thing goes. Do not need element matching either. And take a look at this option. Select parameter from. And for this, I'm actually going to go with from room. We also have to room, guys. Actually, let's talk about this for a second. What's the difference in between from room and to room? Well, obviously, through doors, we would connect the rooms together, right? And here we can specify which room do we want to be a factor. the room that we're in, which would be from room, or the room that we are being connected to through the door, which would be to room. I'm going with from room, which is more common actually. And as for the format, I want the name, then dash, and then a number. We have some parameters up here, which we'll be discussing in a bit. Before that, let's do a quick recheck. I'm focusing only on these specific types of doors first. Then the affected parameter would be the mark. Then no partitioning and no element matching. So to put it simply then, guys, I'm demanding a very simple numbering process or coding process for these types of doors, okay? Yeah, without any categorizing, specific categorizing or anything. So apply this. And you see the result, guys. I have a very simple numbering here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and counting. We have 10. Starting from 1 and going all the way to 10. So that would be all regarding our first example, guys, which was the numbering process for the doors based on from room. Now, let us spice things up a bit, guys. Or let me put it this way, let's do this a bit differently. For example, instead of from room, let's go with to room this time. Again, name. Let's check this one as well. Now, previously, guys, this was the term, or this room was the factor for the naming and numbering process, corridor. But now we're going to use these rooms, electrical, MEP, and the rest. How about the numbers, though? What kind of numbering we're going to have? Should I give you some options? Yeah, I ought to do that. Let me give you some options for answering this question, guys. Option number 1. We might get 1 for all of these doors, guys, because the rooms are different, as you can see, and we only have a single door or single type of door within them. And now, the second option. We're going to get numbers 1 to 5 for all the doors on this side, and then the same thing on the other. And as for the third option, nothing happens. Try answering this, guys, and simultaneously I'm going to apply this. See? The third option, guys. Nothing happened to the numbers. Question is, why? So, guys, we can see the name of the rooms here, but as for the numbers, well, they are still the same as before, 1 to 10. Why? If your answer is because we don't have any partitions, well, you are 100% correct, guys. If you recall, I said that without partitioning or categorizing, the numbering process would be quite simple because we don't have any rules basically for the numbering process. So the numbering would be quite simple, starting from 1 and counting. All right, so now let's change this, guys. I'm going to go ahead and enable this option, partitioning by parameter value. And give me from room. And well, as we just saw, from room would be this area here, the corridor. Try to pay attention, guys, because I'm about to ask you another question. All right, give me from room name. And I want the numbering to be done based on this parameter. Question, what is going to happen to the numbers now, guys? Do you need any options again? You know what, let me give you options. You know what, let me put it in this way. Are we going to have any changes or not? Let's apply this. Exactly, no changes. Because we only have a single area, guys, this corridor. So the categorizing doesn't really mean anything here. Okay, now let's crank things up a notch. Partitioning, this time give me to room. Okay, let me change the order. Changing the formats a bit. All right, now, what do you think will happen this time, guys? Are we going to have the same thing again? Or are we going to have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both sides? Or are we going to get a single number? So apply this. The third option happens. This is happening, guys, because of the partitioning, because we're basically doing the whole numbering process based on the room name, and within this room we only have a single door, one in electrical, one in MEP, and the rest. Now take a look at this, guys. We have a couple of rooms with the same name, as you can see. Like, for example, we got 2 electrical rooms and the other one I can't really see from here. But the names, I'm sorry, but the numbers are different. We have 1 and 2. See, the top door is 1 and the bottom one is 2. So I kind of mislead you again, guys. When we are doing the partitioning based on the room name, whenever we have two rooms with the same name, we're gonna get something like this. Like, we have 2 electrical rooms, so then the doors would get these numbers, 1 and 2. But we have MEP. Well, we have 1 MEP room, so that's why we have only 1. See, here we have a single door for the MEP. AHU, again, we have 2. How about the rest of them? Okay, we have 1 for the rest of them. Now, for example, guys, this is a very obvious point, but if I go ahead and change the room name here to AHU, the thing that is going to happen is that the number would become 3. Because we have 3 rooms with the same name, and their doors would be numbered through a very simple order, actually. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is a very simple point, right? So let me complicate it for you then. What I'm going to do would be getting a copy of this door here. And I'm just going to paste it next to this one. I'm basically going to set up a tag for this door, but before I do that, what kind of number we're going to get, guys? Do not rush anything, guys. Try to think about this for a second. Focus. I'm going to set up the tag. Yes, we're simply going to get 4. I was going to mislead you again, and, well, hopefully I failed. Okay, anyway, guys, so basically the important factor here would be the partitioning, the rule that we specified before, talking about either from room or to room, or basically the room's name, guys. So basically it is a very simple concept. As another example, I'm going to go ahead and add another door here, and the number would be 5. Alright then, guys, if I'm to explain the whole concept of partitioning in another way, I can say, or I would say, it basically means when, specifying when do we start the numbering process from the number 1, again, during the whole process. For example, if I change the room name here again, I'll get number 1 and 2. And yeah, I guess that would be all regarding the concept of partitioning. Alright then, guys, let's see what other items we got here and we can talk about. I set up the tags here so that you would see everything better. Okay, so first we got include. Through include, we can make sure that the number or the code basically would be specified for all of the elements. So an example, I'm going to go ahead and set this on uppercase. And now our code includes or contains letters instead of numbers. By the way, guys, the difference in between numbers and letters is the fact that numbers are easier to work with. That's it. Next up, we got skip. If you go with this option, guys, the first element won't get any numbers. Let me change this dash to space. This way it would be easier to understand. Now take a look at the codes, guys. We got let's see, A, B, C, D, E, right? Yeah, A, B, C, D, E. Or, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I apply this door won't get any numbers. And in fact, the door that was number 2 previously would become the number 1. Let me undo this and show you this whole thing one more time. This is quite important, guys. Number. Take a look at this. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go with skip, the number for this door would be removed, and this door down here would become number 1. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Where exactly we can use this, guys? Honestly, I don't really know, and I don't think that we'll be using this that much. But, well, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't know what it does. So you're basically using skip instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be having 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Now, we got another option. Skip if single. Let me apply this and show you what it does. Now, take a look at this, guys. Here we got 5 doors from the same type, and nothing is basically happening to them. And the same goes for these 2 doors, guys. Again, nothing is going to happen to these. However, for MEP, we only have a single door, or a door from a single type. As you can see, this door does not have any codes. Now, let's go through the options one more time, guys. We said that through include. Basically, all of our elements, or all of our, in this case, doors, would get the codes. Then we said that through using skip, in case we had multiple elements from the same type, the first element won't get any codes. So exactly like what is going on here, and exactly like the examples that we went through just a few seconds ago. And then we also mentioned a third option, guys. Skip if single. You know what, guys? Let me try putting this in another way. The difference in between these 2 options, I'm talking about skip and skip if single, is the fact that using skip, when we are trying to specify codes for multiple elements, the first element won't get any numbers, and then the previously second element would become element number 1, in fact. Well, basically, single elements will be skipped. And then there's skip if single, guys. If we go with this option, guys, basically the multiple elements won't even be considered. Well, I mean, they would be numbered or coded without any problems. Only the single elements would be skipped. Did you get it? Let me try this one more time, guys. This time a bit more summarized. Include, set up numbers for all the elements. Skip removes the codes from single elements, and also removes the code from the first element in between or within a group of elements from the same type. And then skip if single only removes the codes from the single elements. That's it. So, you know, guys, we can kind of claim that through combining the first 2 options, I'm talking about include and skip, we'll be getting the third one, skip if single. That's it. And yeah, I guess that will be all regarding these 3 options. Now, using this item, we would be able to specify whether we want to have letters or numbers. And also, guys, if we go with numbers, we would be able to control the decimal numbers as well. This is actually very common, using decimals, especially when we have a lot of elements to number or to code, basically. Like, for example, 001, and then the next one would be 010, or basically stuff like these. All right. If we go with letters, this whole thing that I just explained, the whole thing with the decimal numbers and stuff, would become kind of meaningless. Now, regarding the format down here, we would be able to specify prefixes, suffixes, and also separators. All right, then, moving on now. Guys, when we start the numbering process, let me put it in this way. Take a look at this. This template is enabled, right? I'm going to try applying a modification on this. Anything basic. I'm just trying to prove a point. The thing is, if I try applying a new modification here, I won't be allowed to do so. Why? Well, because we're following a specific numbering template, and due to this, the mark should definitely be specified based on the partition, which was the room name. So we can't really apply just any modifications. Well, there's a way around this, guys. In case we actually wanted or needed to modify this, we can just disable the template. Now we can modify this however we like, but one more time, if we go ahead and enable this, it'll immediately go back to what it was. Now remember, new objects would follow this template as well, in case it was activated. I mean, they would basically follow this rule, this principle, guys. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and copy this door. Or you know what? We can even set up a new door here. See, the mark is empty, but when we set the door down, the mark would immediately be specified. Guys, as I said, there's a specific rule or principle that all of our new objects are following. And by the way, guys, the parameter is important here, the mark, not the tag. Okay, now based on what we discussed up to this point, let me test you a bit. Take a look at the codes that we got for all of these doors, guys. Which of the options that we discussed do you think these doors are following? Is it include, skip, or skip if single? Well, obviously, it is not include because this door does not have any codes to it. So then, the answer would be either skip or skip if single. Now, if you take a closer look, you would realize that it is not skip either, because in that case, we shouldn't have had codes for one of these two similar elements. So then, having said all of this, the answer would obviously be skip if single. Well, if I'm to explain this more or elaborate a bit further, as you can see, single elements do not have any codes to them. Now, just to remind you of our latest point, when the numbering template is enabled, we won't be able to apply new modifications on our elements. All right, now moving on with our discussion regarding the items that we have in the numbering tab, we reached element matching. Element matching basically says that if your numbering parameter is the same for the elements, just give them a single number or code. I mean, instead of different numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, just give them a single and similar number. Now, as for an example, guys, for the parameter, I'm going with type. Try to guess what is going to happen. Now, we have the same type for all of these elements, guys, and remember, both partitioning and element matching do not really affect the name, guys. They would just affect the number. Well, I mean, the name would basically be specified based on the room name, right? So that's why both element matching and partitioning just affect or only affect the number. I'm going to go with 1 here. Now, through our partitioning, we're specifying the codes based on the rooms, and through element matching, we're demanding a single code for all the elements with the same parameter value. And as for the parameter, we went with type, if you recall. Now, question, where and how exactly you think these changes would be applied, guys? And I'm also going to help you. I'm going to give you some hints. Don't worry. All right, let me do something real quick, guys. I'm going to set this back on number again because it's easier to understand that way. And then also, I'm going to remove this frame from the tag. Like this. And then maybe enlarging this a bit to get a single line. Let me see, is it good? Yeah, way better. Back to our numbering. I'm going to select type as the parameter, as I said. And one more time, guys, I try to do some guessing. Now, as for the partitioning, we went with the room name, if you recall, like MEP or electrical and so on. And I don't really think I need to explain this that much anymore. So let's move on to element matching. Basically, what I expect to get out of this, guys, is that I want to get number 1 for all the elements, for all the doors with the same type. Like, for example, if I have like 3 elements from a single type, give me 1 for all of them. And if I have 2 from another type, give me 2 for all of them. Now, I'm not applying this just yet because I want you to guess what's going to happen. Let me try to walk you through the whole thing, guys. We got numbers 1 and 2 for these 2 doors, and as for the rooms or room names, we got electrical for both of them. Now, the question that I have is that what do you think will happen if I apply this numbering process, guys? Or what do you think will happen for AHU? We got 5 doors here. or MEP. How about MEP? The important point that you need to which you need to pay attention is the fact that all of these doors have the same type. So try to think about this, guys. What exactly do you think will happen to all of these doors? Shall I apply this? Let's do it then. Okay? Let's see what happened, guys. First off, what was the option that we went with? Skip if single. So I'm going to change this to include. Now, take a look at the electrical doors, guys. We have number 1 for both of them. One more time, guys. Basically, element matching says that all of the elements with the same parameter value, I'm talking about this value that we specified, should have the same number. Now, that is kind of what's going on here, but that's not the end of it, guys. Due to our partitioning, both electrical and MEP are starting from number 1. And because we also have element matching, we don't have any number 2s. All of them are number 1. Alright, so I guess that would basically be it regarding element matching, guys. And we can always go with another parameter, like for example, comment. Or, any other thing, like level. Alright guys, I think we actually covered most of the points that we needed to discuss regarding the numbering process in Revit 27, but we still need to talk about this a bit more, and we're going to do that in our next session. Hopefully you understood everything regarding the numbering process and numbering item up to this point, and today we're going to continue our discussion. First thing that I'm going to do will be changing the filters to doors, because I want to include all the doors basically, and I don't have the doors filter. Doesn't matter, no biggie. Let's just create the filter. Again, just gonna go with doors for the name because I want all the doors to be included within the numbering process. Guys, let us work on this example together. Let's just move on step by step together. First, I'm gonna open this up. Disable. Now here to room, include, and number 1. Okay. Let's apply this and see what we're gonna get. And again, guys, remember in this example, we want all the doors to be numbered. Okay, now where's number 1? Where is it? Oh, here. This entrance is number 1. Oh, take a look at this, guys. We don't have any name for this door because we don't have a to-room name. Alright? If I'm to change this, then I can go ahead and create a room here. On both sides, actually. I would also get the names within the codes. Let me just put on some hypothetical names here, just to prove a point. Now, guys, because we didn't specify any partitioning in this example for this current numbering process, the whole thing has been done quite simple. Like, we have a 1, 2, 3, and, well, the rest of the numbers, basically, regardless of the rooms. We basically got from 1 all the way to 21. Now, let me give you a reminder, guys. If you recall, in our previous session, I said that when we specify partitioning and element matching also, they would only affect the numbers within the codes. What's going on with this format? Let me remove the separator. Now, let's try this again, guys, and this time with partitioning. For example, I'm going to go with based on term's name. Yeah, I guess it is a pretty solid choice, guys. Okay. Now, basically what's going to happen, or what is happening actually, is that all the numbers will become more categorized. For example, the number here is 2 for the MEP room. Down here we got 1, then 2 and 3. Now, how about the AHU? Here we got 1, 2, 3. Up here 4. Then 5 and 6 are down here. And then we got 7 and 8 here. So basically, guys, using such a filter, aspects such as type, dimensions, and stuff like these aren't really important anymore. And the result would be such a numbering process 1, 2, 3, and the rest. Now, we're almost done, guys, by the way, so pay attention, please. These two have the same type, or, well, let me actually go with another example. For example, let's go with AHU. We got more doors here. So you can see we got 5 doors from the same type. And then we got these two and this one down here, again from the same type. So 5 from one type and then another 3 from another. But because we didn't use element matching, guys, the numbering will be done or is being done simply based on the room. So we have 1, 2, 3, all the way to 8. Now, having said this, if I go ahead and actually use element matching, and better yet, based on the type, what's going to happen? Answer this. Exactly. Because we got 2 types, guys, we'll be having only 2 numbers. One would be specified for 5 doors, and then the other one would be specified for 3 of them. So we got 1 for these 5, and the other 3 are being displayed through the number 2. And again, guys, remember, all of these doors are from the same partition, AHU. So yeah, I guess that would basically be all, guys, regarding these 2 concepts I'm talking about, partitioning and element matching. What you need to do, though, would be going through some examples of your own to understand this whole thing as best as you can. Oh, and by the way, guys, through number sequence, we can check the result. Yeah, so basically you need practice. Through edit template, we can go back to this tab. This is not really that complicated. And for example, here it says how many partitions we got, what's the name, what's the starting value. Well, actually, this is the most important concept here, the starting value, controlling the starting value. Like we can set this on 1 and apply it. If I'm to elaborate more on this, for example, in this partition, the AHU, these doors are 1 and these are 2, okay? If I go ahead and change the starting value here to 2, for example, the starting number would become 2. That's it. 2 and 3. It's a very simple concept and honestly not that useful. I mean, honestly, we would usually just start from number 1. Anyway, so again, as I said, that would basically be all, and you need practice. So yeah, you just do that. As a very good feature in Revit 27, we can mention having a better control on the line weights of the length files. Now, to understand this whole thing better, let's try this in Revit 26 first, and then we can compare it to what we have in Revit 27. Take a look at these 2 files, guys. This is the length file, which kind of includes the second block of our project, and then this one is the main structure somehow. Now, our current line weight is 0.6, guys. By the way, let me actually give you a reminder on how to specify the line weight first. From object styles, then wall, we would be able to specify a scale for the cut like 5. And then from line weight, we would be able to specify a line weight for the scale that we just specified, which currently we have 0.6. Now, the thing is, I'm using the same line weight for the length file, guys. Let me open it up. I'm going to unload this. From object styles and walls, what do we have for cut? We got number 2. As you know, guys, this number is not really important. The important thing is the line weight for this number within our current scale. And again, we have 0.6. Okay, now I'm going to reload this again. Let's say during our work, we would realize that the line weight is too much and we want to reduce it to, for example, 0.3. And again, guys, we want to manage this while we're Revit 2026, okay? Now, what was the number that we had for the walls? 5. The scale, 100th. I want this to be 0.3. But the thing is, guys, when I do this, basically nothing happens to the length file, and this is not really good. I mean, if I'm to elaborate further here, back in prior versions, when dealing with a length file, all the characteristics regarding the line weight was, how do I put this, was based on the length file itself, regardless of what we would actually specify in the main file. I don't think I really need to say anything more, but this is not really good, guys. Actually, this is a problem. Now, what's worse is that the solution wasn't really good either. I mean, we basically had to do anything. All the things that we did in our main file and the length file as well. I'm talking about going through the whole object style tab, then specifying the number for the item, and then specifying the line weight and all of that. Here we had to unload the file first, then go through all of these steps, save everything, then load it again. So yeah, it would have taken a long time to be done. Oh, and as you can see, I actually forgot to specify to control the pattern. So yeah, you get what I'm saying, guys. This is a problem. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. We have a bit of control here. We can manage this, but we don't have a very good control. And I actually started the session by saying we have a better control. So let me put it in this way then. In versions prior to Revit 27, managing the line weight of a linked file should have been done from the linked file itself. Now, what is interesting is that in Revit 27, we can still do this. In other words, we still have the whole by link control. But we also have another option, guys. We can do something to make sure that the length file actually follows the modifications or basically settings I would specify in the main file. Now, for that, I need to enter the Visibility and Graphics tab. Then from Revit Links, here I can find Display Settings. Currently, it is set on by Host View. Anyway, down here, I can find line weight. Now, this item, the line weight here is completely new, guys, and it was extremely needed. Take a look at what we have in Revit 26, guys. There's no line weight. Oh, and instead of by host view, by default, this was set on by length view. But now, this is not the case in Revit 27. By default, we have by host view, meaning the length file actually follows the host file or the main file. But again, as I said, guys, we can always change this back to by length view. We have both options to go with. Now let's check this out. From object size, what was the number 5? Okay. And as for the line weight, for the scale 100, we have 1, for example. If I change this to 0.5, both files would be affected. This is extremely simple. And if we go ahead and select by length view here, guys, basically everything goes back to what it was back in, for example, Revit 26. The length file, again, the length file starts following the settings and the length file itself. That's it. But again, if I go ahead and select by host view, the length file starts following the host file or the main file. So for example, the patterns disappeared, guys, due to what we have specified in the main file. Alright then, so let's do a quick recheck, guys. In Revit 26, the line weight of the length files was supposed to be controlled from the length file itself. But in Revit 27, due to this new option, the line weight option in the VG tab, we would be able to choose whether we want the length file to follow the host file, or just keep it like what it was. And if we want to go with the second option, we can just enter the VG tab again, and instead of by host view, choose the option by length view. Oh, and by the way, guys, we can do this for all the items, so we can just hit custom and choose by length view only for line weight. But honestly, guys, I don't really think we need to do that. I mean, by host model or by host view is a better option here. Well, I mean, it is easier, it's faster, and, just to put it simply, it makes sense, yeah. in this part, we're going to talk about an AI system added to Revit 2027 called Autodesk Assistant. We're going to see what it is, what it does, what kind of features it has. We'll be going through some pointers and examples, and basically, we're going to have a general discussion regarding it. First and foremost, this AI system does not need any extra softwares. I mean, it is basically a default item in Revit. Oh, actually, let me put it in this way. It is a built-in item, to be more exact. And then as for another point, guys, if you want to use this AI system, honestly, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but here it goes. If you want to use this AI system, you definitely need to be online, which I guess it is an extremely obvious point. So let me try to make this a bit more profound then. Without internet connection, guys, you won't be able to access or even find this item, kind of like it doesn't even exist. Oh, and there's also the matter of originality. I'm talking about the originality of the software that you're using. It doesn't really matter whether you're using the original version of Revit or not. You would still be able to use this item, or it's better to say this AI system, without any difficulties. Yeah, so that won't be an issue. The most important, you can say points, or it's better to say preparation, that you need to be taken into consideration before using this AI system is the fact that you need to have an active Autodesk account. So then everything that we discussed up to this point was just a simple preparation process for using this AI system. Oh, and by the way, guys, creating an Autodesk account is a very simple task as well. And you just need to enter the Autodesk website, specify your own username and a password, and well, that would pretty much be it. I mean, you'll be good to go. Then for using the AI, you just need to put in that username and the password here in Revit as well. Now, shall we delve into the matter a bit more then? Let us talk about what exactly this AI does. First off, we can access the AI's palette from up here. It is not something complicated. It's pretty much like the other panels that we have in Revit, like Properties tab or Project Browser. Now we can also access this from View, then User Interface, and here we go. Here we have Autodesk Assistant. We can open this up or close the tab down. Anyway, now here we got a preview on all the abilities of this AI system. Let's see what they are. First, we got Model Query. To put it simply, a model query is something quite similar to a schedule. And it basically gets some data added to your model and then gives you some sort of a report or a result, you can say, based on them. Through this feature, you can extract specific kind of info on some element, like on your doors. Now, as for other features, this AI system could easily create, edit, and also extract schedules, views, and sheets. For example, extracting a number of sheets is a very common thing that we would usually need. As for other abilities using this AI system, you would be able to apply modifications, tags, and also view templates onto your parameters. Now, the next question that we need to be answering is that how exactly this AI system works. Well, to be honest, the answer is very simple. It functions quite the same as the other AI systems out there, based on a prompt that you need to put in, to be more exact. Now, guys, let me tell you this. The name of this AI system has been specified very accurately. I mean, it is exactly what it says it is. It's a very good assistant that you can use for some general and routine processes during a project. As an example, processes such as some general analysis. Remember though, guys, this is just the first version, meaning it is not flawless. So I don't really recommend this AI to be used by the entire team. Only managers or coordinators will do for now. Alright, let us continue. Here we got some hints on how to use the AI. For example, it basically says that you are able to ask me these questions. For example, first question says, what can you do for me? You know what, guys? Less talking, more doing. So click. What's going to happen is that the AI basically starts introducing itself. Yeah, I guess that's a way to put this. A few seconds ago, we actually talked about how we can use this AI system for creating a model query. And as you can see, that whole thing is being mentioned here all over again. It also says that I can find you some elements based on specific categories. Also categorize them based on these parameters. Alright, what else? Down here it says that I can create you some views, different types of them actually. I can apply view templates on them. I can open up the different views that you have. And back to view templates, I can manage and export them. Also, it says that I can modify geo elements. I'm talking about applying modifications such as move, rotation, changing their types. I can also apply modifications on the parameters that you have. And then next up, it talks about how it can do some documentation processes, talking about creating and managing different schedules based on different and specific parameters or categories that you would specify. I mean, to put it simply, basically the documentation processes that we used to do ourselves. It also says that I can create and manage your sheets and layouts. Like, for example, it says that I can fill your sheets up with all the views that you need. I can manage the sheet numbers and sheet names. Then it says that I can also help you with your tags and annotations. Like, I can tag your elements or brooms, for example. Need any help with your structure and beam elements? Well, I can help you with that. I can easily work with levels, grids, reference planes, and the rest. And then at the end, there's even a guidance or some hints, if you will, on what kind of questions you need to be asking. Like, for example, what exactly a specific item does. So then what I'm trying to say is that this AI system kind of functions as some sort of a guide as well. Let us begin our today's session by going through the tabs that we got within this AI system. First tab is chat. Here we would basically interact with the AI, like using the prompt that we discussed before. Then the second tab would be my insight. Here we would basically find info, or it's better to say suggestions and hints regarding the items. As for the third tab, we got prompt library. Let me mention a point before discussing this tab, guys. You need to know that you would be able to save the prompts that you're using within a project for further usage within other or future projects. As a very common example on this, guys, we can mention the prompts that we would use for creating schedules within a project. We simply might need the same schedule within another project later on. In such case, I can easily save my utilized prompt, then access it in the future from the prompt library tab. And then at the end, guys, we got the chat history tab, which I guess it's quite obvious. It is a history on your chats. Very simple. Okay, now, shall we begin working with the AI then? What do you say? Let's just do it. So, as mentioned before, the first thing that we need for using this AI would be a prompt. However, as an additional point here, guys, I should mention that we would basically be able to use any kind of language that we want within our prompt. Now, take a look at this, guys. I have prepared some prompts for you, and we're basically going to use these prompts to find out how exactly the AI functions. I mean, some of them might work, some of them might not, some might even need developments, and we're going to find out soon enough. As for the first prompt here, it says that creates a quantity takeoff schedule for walls. The important point here is that no particular parameters are being mentioned. So then I'm just going to copy the prompt and then paste it within our chat. Once again, I'm trying to use this AI system for creating a schedule for walls. Wait for the result. Alright, now take a look at this, guys. It actually walks you through the entire process as well, guys. Like, I mean, it says that I'm trying to do this or that, or these are the steps, for example, and basically some info regarding the whole thing that you can check out yourselves. I mean, if you wanted to, obviously. Now take a look at this. It says that I've created the schedule using these parameters. So then the point is, if we didn't specify the parameters, it would automatically specify the parameters for us. And usually the parameters are good. I mean, they would be like the most useful or common ones. Now here we got an ID regarding the created schedule. And now I can either use this to find the schedule to open it up, or I can just find it within the project browser. Here we go. This would be the created schedule, guys. And these are the parameters selected by the AI. So, as you can see, working with this AI system is a very simple task, guys. Now, let's try changing this whole thing a bit. Say, for example, I don't really want, the schedule is good, but I don't really want these parameters. So I'm going to use this prompt now. And within the new prompt, I'm basically saying that I want the schedule to be modified. To be more precise, I want these parameters now. Family and type, width, count, and base constraints. So then, one more time, guys, I'm going to copy paste the prompt. Once again, wait up for the result. Okay, so it is saying that I have created a new schedule, this time using the parameters that you have specified. Take a look at this. We got a completely new schedule here. So the point is, it didn't really it didn't modify our previous schedule. It created a new one. Now, it either didn't understand the prompt or the prompt wasn't really functional for it. So let's see which one is it then. So I'm going to say, edit the last schedule. Let's see whether it works or not. All right, take a look at this. It basically says that I get what you say, but I'm not able to modify the previous schedule. I can only create a new one using the new parameters. So then, guys, the point that we can get out of all of this is the fact that there's a downside to this, we can say. This AI system can create schedules for you, but it cannot apply modifications on them. Like, it can't really modify or change the parameters like what we used to do manually using properties. So then, to put it simply, parameter modification is not supported by this AI when creating schedules. Instead, you'll be getting a completely new schedule. This is not hopeless though. Although it didn't work exactly like what we wanted, it still gives us some hints on how to apply the required modifications ourselves. Talking about these mentioned steps. Alright, now let's go one step further, guys. Let's try developing our prompt. For example, say I want the schedule that we currently have, the new schedule. I'm talking about the new created schedule. I want it to be sorted out based on the family and type. I mean, we obviously need the schedules to be categorized and organized, right? I've prepared a prompt for that as well, and not only that, guys, I also want the itemized every instance option to be disabled. You know what, just as a reminder, I'm actually going to show you the option. Here we go. I'm talking about this option here, itemize every instance. Anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and copy paste the prompt, the new prompt, which is kind of a development on our previous prompt. And by the way, guys, now that I said this, it is always better to use a single chat page for all the related processes. Just open up a new chat when you want to do something else. Like, for example, when you want to create another or a new schedule. Anyway, applying or copy pasting the new prompt. Now let's see how this one goes. Alright, it is done, guys, and as you can see, our schedule is sorted out or categorized based on the family and type now. However, the second thing that I demanded is not happening, as you can see. I mean, all of the items are being displayed here within the schedule one by one, meaning itemize every instance option is still enabled. And if we continue reading the answer, guys, we would see that it actually says that I'm not really able to do the second thing that you wanted, but I can still help you with what you want. I mean, as you can see, it provided us with some hints and steps again. So then the point is, although the system cannot do all the things that we're demanding, it still helps us do them ourselves. And I guess that would basically be all, guys, regarding our first example, which was creating a schedule using this AI system, this Autodesk assistant in Revit 2027. Let's try another prompt. Let's say there's this project and I want to copy one of its levels in order to convert it into a furniture plan, for example. Take a look at the project browser for a second. We got 3 buildings somehow, with each one having their own first level. And well, they are being displayed through some names. And I want to get a copy of this first one and change the name into the furniture plan, as I said. Well, the point is, I want to do this whole thing using the AI. Alright, take a look at the prompt that I'm going with here, guys. I'm saying that make a copy of the first level and name it level 1 furniture plan. So then, exactly like before, I'm going to copy paste this prompt. However, there's a point, guys. It is better to open up a new chat page, because our current chat page is for the schedule that we created previously. And who knows, we might actually need this whole prompt and whole chat. So I'm just going to save this and open up a new chat. And as you can see, it says that our chat has been saved within chat history. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm going to copy paste this prompt into the new chat page. And then basically wait up for the result of the process to be over. And it is processing, as you can see. Wait for it. All right, it is done. As you can see, the new copy has been created, and the renaming process that I demanded has been done successfully as well. And it also says that level 1 was actually from 3 buildings. So instead, I created the copy from L1, the base level, in other words. So although it didn't exactly do what I wanted, it did the next best thing, basically, and it also explained itself. Now, again, as before, we have it presented us with this ID that we can use for finding and opening this new view. I can use this within coordination and access the new view that I just created. Okay, good, great. Now, let us try something else, guys. For example, this time let's try disabling something within one of our views. For example, in this within our current view, the O1 level, let's try disabling the dimensions. Yeah, let's say we don't really need these dimensions. I've got a prompt for this as well. Well, actually, currently the prompt says that turn off the dimensions within the new view. I'm talking about the view that we just created. Now, this is not an issue. It's not a big deal. We can just easily change the view name to what we have in mind. So sometimes we might have to change our prompts as well. Okay. I'm going to send out the prompt. All right. So as you can see, guys, this would be another process that's not really possible for this AI system. Maybe currently, though. It says that you've got this many, like 48 dimensions in this view, but I can't really hide them or turn them off from the VG tab. Instead, I can help you turn them off yourselves. So then basically, guys, the point that we're trying to prove through going through all of these different examples is the fact that some of the processes, or completing some of the processes, it's not really possible for this AI system. Maybe at the moment, as an example, turning the categories on or off from the VG tab. In our previous part, we created a view using the AI, and now in this session, we're going to try to apply a view template on it. And mind the fact that I do not have any kind of specific view template in mind. Well, you can get this by checking the prompt as well, guys. There's no specifics mentioned for the view template, as you can see. So then, to put this simply, guys, the AI should either be choosing a view template for me from the view templates that I already got within the project, or it should be creating a new view template for me based on the views that I have. Alright then, let's check up the answer, guys. It says that you already got many different view templates, and based on the chosen view, or based on the chosen plan, basically, the architectural view template could work here. What else it's saying? Yeah, so it says that this is the best or the most suitable view template, and I applied this on your plan. And again, guys, remember, this is happening because we didn't really specify what kind of view template we wanted. Okay, so up to this point, this whole process happened kind of like a selection process. This time, let's try making the AI creating a view template for us. So I'm going to set this on none then. For further elaboration, guys, this time I want the AI to create a completely new view template for me based on the view that I have and all of its characteristics, and also with the exact name that I have in mind. Let's check up the prompt, guys. From this level's settings, create a new view template and name it Bone Row Furniture Plan. So I'm going to copy paste this. And the only thing that I need to do would be changing the level into view. And then again, I'm going to send it out and wait for the result. Alright then, see what's happening. Again, we're facing another situation in which the AI is not really able to complete the task. It basically says that I'm only able to select and apply the existing view templates, not create them from the scratch. Yeah, so creating the view templates is not something that the AI does. It's something that we should be doing ourselves. As an example, I'm going to try creating this view template here. As I said, I'm going to call it Bone Row Furniture Plan. Yeah, let's see what we should do next. What I'm going to do would be using the prompt that I used earlier and just apply some changes to it. Like, I'm going to copy the name of this view template and then paste it or add it to the prompt. Now I'm going to send this out and it should work basically. Yeah, all done. The view template that we wanted is successfully applied here. Let's see what other things we can do using this AI system. For example, let's try creating some new sheets for this project of ours. Well, you know what, let me put it in this way. Let's see whether it actually can create the sheets or not, as it claims. Alright then, so I'm going to use this very simple prompt, as you can see. Create a new sheet. Let's send it out and see what's going to happen. Alright, so I guess it's done. It created the new sheet and here's the ID. Let's check it out. As you can see, this is the new sheet that this AI created. And as for the name, it actually has a pretty default name to it, which would actually be the same case if we were to create the sheet ourselves. Alright, so we successfully created the sheet. Now let's try using the AI for renaming and renumbering the sheet. So then I take a look at the prompt. I'm saying change the new sheet's name and number. As for the name, give me first floor furniture plan. And as for the number, I want 101. So I'm just going to copy paste the prompt and send it out. Okay, it is done. Yeah. This is very helpful, honestly, guys. This whole thing with the naming and numbering process is something that we need to go through a lot during the projects, and using this AI system, now it's a very simple task to do. And by the way, we're not done with this, guys, with this whole process. We'll be going through some more examples regarding the matter. For now, though, let's try something else real quick, guys. Let's try placing a view within this sheet. For example, I'm going to try placing the view that we created using the AI within the sheet that we created within the AI, using the AI, sorry. This is the prompt that I want to use for this process. Place the level 01 furniture plan view onto this sheet. Alright, it is done. As you can see, we got the view within the sheet. However, the position, the location of the view is not really good. Oh, well, this is not that big of a deal, honestly. Like, there are some ways, few ways for solving this problem. Like, we can define some positions for the sheets and then use that position within your prompt in the first place, or you can just simply go ahead and manually locate the view. Either way, this would basically be how to place the views within the sheets using this AI system. As for our next example, I'm going to try editing this view a bit. What I have in mind is exporting this view. You know what, better yet, let's say we want to create a PDF export or output from all the sheets that we got in this project. And obviously, I want to use this AI. Take a look at the prompt, guys. Export a PDF file of all the existing sheets in the project. So let's send out this prompt and wait for the process to be done. Background task initiating means that the exporting process is happening basically. Well, it is happening in the background. Alright, you know what? Let's take a look at the answer provided by the AI, guys. It says that the exporting process is happening, and once it is completed, it would be saved on this path, this location. Now, one more time, guys, once the process is done, once the task is completed, in other words, at the moment, if you go ahead and check this path, this location, nothing basically would exist. So, yeah, just know that the process is yet to be completed. Okay. I guess it's done. Yeah, let's go ahead and check the PDF now. There's a PDF containing all 23 sheets that we had in this project. So yeah, that would basically be it for the concept of exporting using this AI system, guys. And remember, the format could actually vary. I mean, at the moment we tried PDF, but we could have easily tried something else like IFC. Now, back to the whole naming and numbering process again, guys. Let's say I want to add something like a character or something to the number of the sheets. Now, I had a prompt for this. Okay, where is this? Sure, I had a prompt. Yeah, here we go. The character that I have in mind for adding to the sheet numbers is A0. So I'm going to use this prompt, copy paste this prompt. And once again, guys, you can either open up a new chat or just continue the current one. That's your choice. So you go through the process one more time, guys. Basically, I want the AI to add a specific character, A0, to the beginning of all the sheet numbers in the project. So just wait for the process to be done. Alright, I guess it started. As you can see, the modification is being applied on all the sheets one by one. Now, Let me tell you this, guys. Such processes talking about renaming and renumbering the sheets are quite essential within our work. So we need both preciseness and speed when it comes to going through them. And now using this AI, we can simply have both. Anyway, the process is successfully done now, and surely you already know this, but it also explains how the whole thing went down. All right, everyone. As for our next example, let's say we want to have a list, a detailed list on all the doors and windows that we got within this level. So let us check the prompt that we're about to use, guys. And okay, so seems like our prompt only includes windows. Find all the windows within this level, provide detailed information on each one. So I'm going to get a copy of this prompt, and before pasting it, I'm actually going to enter a new chat page because we're changing the subject somehow. And guys, to work a bit more specifically, I'm going to try mentioning the view's name here within the prompt. And send. Always wait up for the result and see what is going to happen exactly. It's processing, meaning it still has not done what I wanted or asked, basically. Okay, I guess it's done. It says that I've listed 23 windows for you with some info on them. For example, we got the first window here is the name and the ID. Then also we got family, type, level, and basically some other info regarding it. And we can always specify the parameters that we want, meaning we can specifically ask for some info. But since we didn't really do that, it basically just chose the info for us. And to be honest, these are good. These are good parameters. These are some good info. And what is even more interesting, guys, is that at the end of the list, you can say a summarized report is also provided. And by summarized reports, I mean it basically says, for example, again, how many windows we got within this level, the material that's being mentioned, and then there's a range, a size range for all 23 windows that we have here. All right, then, very well. Next up, let's say I want the OKB, for example. I'm talking about the cell height within all the windows in this entire level to be the same. Yeah, let's say I want to use a fixed up number, a fixed up value for all the windows. Obviously, I've prepared another prompt for this, so let's go ahead and get a copy. Which one is it? This one. As you can see within the prompt, I'm demanding the cell height for all the windows within this entire level to be set on 90 cm. As to put this in other words, basically the process that we're about to go through is a parameter modification, okay? I mean, obviously there's this parameter called the cell height, and we're trying to alter it. We're trying to modify it. Oh, and by the way, we don't really need to open up a new chat, because we are still focusing on the elements or the windows, to be more exact, from this view. All right, then, let's see what exactly we're going to get. All right, guys, so take a look at the answer, the provided answer. It says that I have successfully changed or modified 5 of the 23 windows, but there's 18 failed ones. And here's the reason why. The cell height parameter for the other 18 windows was simply a read-only parameter, meaning it wasn't really editable. But again, it says that these are the steps or the processes that you need to go through if you still want to change them. Now, you know what, guys, why just talk about it? Let's actually go ahead and check one of the windows, the cell height actually, for one of the windows. So you can't really change this parameter. Why? Because it actually has an associated global parameter. And if you want to do that, if you want to change it, we need to set this on none. And after doing this, we would be able to change the value for this parameter as well. Either way, guys, we can't really say that we failed or the AI failed because it just did the best it could. I mean, it actually applied the required or the specified modifications where it was possible, basically. Alright guys, up to this point, through the examples that we went through, we got some completed and incompleted tasks, basically. And this example was quite interesting because we somehow got both. Okay guys, let us jump right into our next example. Let's say we got some families within this project that we haven't really used. Which is actually very common, by the way. I mean, in all the projects, there are families. There are unused families. Yeah, some loaded families that are just there and they would make the files unnecessarily heavy. Families that we would usually get rid of through purging. Now, we want to find out whether this AI could actually help us with such families or not. Now, before putting in the required prompts, I'm actually going to open up a new chat because our subject is completely new. And I'm using a very simple prompt, as you can see, guys. Delete all the unused families. Okay, guys, pay attention, please. This is actually quite interesting. It doesn't just begin deleting everything. It actually makes sure that whether we're actually sure ourselves about the decision that we're about to make, which would be permanently deleting the families. And then also as for another, well, you can call this some sort of an insurance policy or something. You want to know whether we have any exceptions in mind. Like, for example, we want to remove all the unused families except for the doors. Oh, this is not one of those situations. Like, I want all the unused families to be removed, so just gonna say delete all of them. And send. Alright, so it seems like we actually got another last minute insurance. It says that if you are completely sure, you need to confirm this by typing this term down. Honestly, guys, this is not something small or a simple task or process that we're about to do. It's a huge deal, so such precautions are actually quite necessary. Either way, guys, at the end of the day, unfortunately, the process, the task, remains incomplete. Why? Well, because it says that I simply do not possess the requirement for applying such a modification or basically just completing this task that you want. And then as always, once again, it says that if you're still sure about this whole thing, if you still want to remove all the unused families, you ought to just go ahead and use the purge item that you have in the software yourselves. So then overall, this would be another process that cannot be done by this AI, although at first, it actually seemed like it's going to happen. I mean, due to all of those questions and precautions and stuff. Guys, we can even consider what just happened as some sort of a glitch in the system. And you know what? Now that I said this, now that I mentioned this, let me tell you this also. Remember, this is only the first version of this AI, so it is quite possible to face such glitches and some other ones, some annoying ones. Like, for example, there's this prompt working perfectly fine at one time, and then next time it might not work. And what is even more annoying is that next time might be in the same project. As an example, I actually remember using this AI for creating a list on all the warnings in a project, and then next time that I wanted to use the same prompt in the same project, it simply didn't work. You know what? Now that I mentioned this, I think I got the prompt for the whole warning thing, so let's try it here and see what we're going to get out of this one. And basically, guys, what I'm trying to say, the point that I'm trying to prove here is that do not be confused by this whole thing. I mean, as I said, this is only the first version. And honestly, that's the reason why Autodesk itself says that we shouldn't really rely on using this AI system in our projects. Like we should just keep the usage on a on a minimum range, you can say. Like only be used. I mean, this AI should only be used by the managers or coordinators for checking some stuff or doing some analysis, not the entire team. Now, well, this is actually a point that I mentioned before, if you recall. I said that we should only be using this AI system for going through some general processes. And oh, by the way, guys, again, it didn't work. This prompt didn't work. And as I said before, it worked perfectly fine before. Okay. So then basically the point that I'm trying to prove is that exactly like in all the other programs, softwares, and even AI systems, here we also have some issues and glitches, which surely would be removed and resolved within the next versions and upgrades of this AI. Alright guys, as for our next example, we're going to try creating some sections using this AI system. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to enter another project for further demonstration. Welcome back guys. I've got a project here containing multiple staircases. What I want to do would be applying sections or creating sections out of them, both horizontally and vertically. Well, I also want the section views as well. Now, as always, before using the prompt, I'm going to open up a new chat, and this would be the prompt that I'm going with this time, guys. And the prompt, I'm basically saying that I want a horizontal and vertical section for all the stairs or staircases within the project. It's processing and it's answering the answer. Up to this point, it actually says that I have found 27 stairs, and now I'm going to give you the sections or add the sections. Alright, it is all done, guys. We got 27 horizontal sections and 27 vertical ones. 54 sections in total. And if we zoom in here, we would be able to see them. Yeah. Let me scroll down a bit. See, we got all these new sections here, guys. Obviously, creating each of these manually would have been extremely time consuming. Okay, guys, now that I'm looking at this current task of ours, there's something going on here. It's not wrong, it's just something. The thing is, the sections are being limited to only the stairs in the project. That's why, I mean, it is happening because I really didn't say that I want the sections to go through the entire plan or the entire project. Now, again, guys, remember, what just happened is not wrong. I mean, I just want you to be informed about this whole thing, as some sort of a complimentary point, if you will, in case you actually needed it. But anyway, this is not the main point though, guys. The point is, processes even as time-consuming as creating these many sections could now be done quite easily and within a blink of an eye using this AI. Now, one more time, guys, remember, guys, this is only the first version of this AI system, so it's not perfect. It has issues, it has problems, glitches, it can do many different things, but there are some other processes that cannot be done just yet by this AI system, and they might become resolved within the next and future versions and upgrades, though. And this goes for bugs and glitches as well, like the one that we experienced together, that we went through together previously. And then one more time, guys, as I said before, try to keep the AI usage on a minimum range. Oh, and by the way, guys, there's a very important issue that I feel we need to discuss. Some users are actually threatened by the concept of AI. They feel like they are being replaced by the AI systems. Well, this is not true at all. I mean, as we just experienced, there are processes that AIs cannot really do. Like, as an example, well, creating view templates, extremely important and essential, yet not possible for the AI. So then, basically, guys, there are downsides, there are also perks and advantages, and, well, we should remember that.